Hey Shakil, hello Vaibhav. Am I audible?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Can we join in exactly at 10 a.m. Every day?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm trying, but I have to, I'm in the reaching office, so sometimes get late, but yeah, I'll try to join.
Because I don't want to delay this course, right?
Uh,
And if you are not giving this 1 hour even every day, then it's the flow itself gets disturbed. Because at least I need 1 hour to explain the topic which I'm covering in a day, right?
yeah,
And like this, it's already 10:03, and perhaps we'll take 2 more minutes to start, 10:05, 55 minutes, not enough time in a day to complete the topic. So try to start every day. Try to join every day at exactly at 10.
okay.
Anyways, you're joining at 10:03 or 10:04 or 10:05, right? It's just 5 minutes you have to manage.
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay, okay. Now let me quickly share my screen. And let's start this instance. You see what I'm doing every day after completion of this session? I'm just stopping my instance so that it should not disturb my finances.
And so after terminating any of the instance, it takes some time to reflect here. I mean, for
Yeah, yeah.
me, I created
Well,
couple of instances and I terminated, but immediately it's not reflecting. So I was just checking that thing.
yeah, it takes some time. Normally, what happens when
Mhm.
you just open an instance, what AWS does is AWS by default sets a filter. It just
Yeah,
list
the
only running
running.
instance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for that to get cleaned up, it takes some time.
Okay.
So it won't be visible immediately, but certainly it will be visible. Okay. So today we'll talk about our other parts of Docker. And yesterday we spoke about, let me quickly connect. We spoke about second type of image, and today we are going to see more on it. Okay, let's increase the font a bit. Well, now let's list down all the containers which we do have. We had created only one container, which is in stop state, and this is of type operating system. Now, another type of image which we spoke about yesterday was the application type of images, and today we are going to talk more and more about that. So, one of the operating system based image is, sorry, one of the application based, and there are different types of application which could be there, which could work for any organization. Now, one of the type of application is web application. You know what is web application? Web application is the type of application which is hosting any website, right? For example, in order to host Google website, perhaps Google has created some web server. Normally, local, all the small industries, what they do is they use some third party vendor web servers like Nginx, different types of web servers, list of different commonly used web servers Okay. You see, these are the very commonly used web server. What is web server? Web server is just a server which is used to host a website. Like, for example, I created a web page. For example, I created a web page and I want that web page to be available on internet. What I'll do, I'll reach to some third-party vendors like Apache, like Nginx, like Microsoft, like Lightspeed, like Cloudflare, like Node, like Light, uh, what is that? Light TPD, Lighty. So I'll reach out to these guys and I'll say, hey, I want to host a website. Can I can I use your server to host my website? What they will do, they'll charge some money to me and they'll say, fine, you will be able to use it for professional purpose. Right. So these are like some third party vendors, which is going to allow me to host my website. Because in order for me to host website, what I have to do, if I don't want to go to them, perhaps I have to use some another. I have to have my instance up. In the instance, I have to do some internet setting, and on top of that I have to launch some sort of configurations, and on top of that I want to just maybe host my HTML page. Something I have to do in order to, for all the proxy settings, all the proxy setting or the load balancing settings, everything I have to manage on my own, which I don't want to do. What I'll do is I will just take help of some third party vendors. So consider that Nginx, any of the web server. If I'm talking about web server, consider that it's a platform on which you are hosting your website. For example, if you want to just advertise any of the product which you launched, what you can do, either you can just create your own launching advertising platform. You have to just perhaps buy a complete auditorium, and in that auditorium you just expose your product, and then you invite different sort of individuals, and then expose your and then demonstrate your product. And even though if you do that, you're not sure whether you will get those many viewers or not, because your product is not that famous. But already these companies are very famous. Nginx and others, they are very, very famous. And what normally people do for advertisement, what they do is they reach out to some third party vendors and they say that, hi, hey, I have a product and I want to advertise that. And now advertisement company takes care of everything. You just give them your product and they do everything. They do marketing, they just create banners, they put the banners at the right places, and they take care of everything so that advertisement happens properly. You just have to pay some sort of money to them. Similar to that, these are web servers. I can create web server of my own, but what people do is they don't do that. Why? Because who will take the headache of maintaining these proxies things, load balances things, and in order to manage performance, who will take that burden? What they do, they reach out to these third party vendors and they say that I'm going to use your application in order to host my website, right? Same thing is called a web server. Same thing we are also going to do in our demos also. We will take help of these third party vendors like Nginx and others, and we will try to host our application, right? So this is what we'll do. I'll give a quick pause because normally people get confused in order to understand what web server is. Is it clear, this web server, when I explained it? Any doubt in that?
Yeah, for me it's clear, sir.
Clear? Okay, cool. So now let's move and let's see what is this. I'll go to Docker Hub, and in Docker Hub, I'll use Nginx as my web server. Now you see, this time it will be a bit different than the way we used before. This time it will be a bit different. Nginx. Okay. Nginx. Okay. So now you see, I got one Nginx image also, which is the Docker official image. I already explained what we mean when we see Docker official image. So now what I'm going to do, I want to take the latest one of this. Um, so I don't see anyone which says latest. Let's just not put any tag. Let's see what happens. If it fails, then we'll try to take any specific version. But for now, let's put a kind of default one. So now let me see in case if I already have one any image with the name Nginx, which I doubt. So I'll say sudo docker images, and you see I don't have any image, which is with the name, which is with the name Nginx. But let me first clean up these things, right? And because these things will certainly add something in my machine's memory, and I've already occupied 42% of memory. So let me just clean up certain things. I'll delete this CentOS. So Docker. How will you delete images? In order to delete images, you will say Docker RMI and give the name of the image which you want to delete, right? Provided image should not be in use. Now, I do not have any container which is created with this image, right? I do not have any container which is created with this image. I can easily delete it. But if I have any container, any working container, any container which is up, then I won't be able to delete this image. I'll show you this image. I'll try to delete and I'll start this container also. Let's see what happens. So first I'll delete this CentOS. There are no container which is created with this image CentOS, and I'll hit enter. You see, it says no image with the latest. I already explained this yesterday. So now delete this with the name of the complete name of the image. So now if I'll do Docker images, sudo Docker images, it's gone. So the command which I executed to delete images, to delete images is sudo docker rmi and image name. Sorry, yeah, image name. So this is the command which will execute to delete images. Remember, you can delete those images only which are not in use, right? Which are not in use. Those images which are in use, those images which are not in use can be deleted, right? Those images which are not in use can be deleted, but those images which are in use cannot be deleted. Remember. Now let me just try to bring this container up. Sudo sudo docker start and sudo docker ps-a. Okay, up by 6 seconds. So this is up now. I just brought the container up, right? I just brought the container up. Now, now, now what we are going to do is, we will try to, right? We will this time try to delete the Ubuntu image. Sudo docker rmi Ubuntu. This is one of the image which we have, right? Let me just demonstrate it to you. Yes, we have this Ubuntu image. Let me just try to delete this. See, I was able to easily delete this CentOS image without any problem, without any trouble. Let me try to delete this. What it says, unable to remit. And same command I executed. Same command which I executed before. I executed same command to delete Ubuntu. Not even a single, only the name is different, which is obvious. But what it says, unable to remove repository reference Ubuntu must force because container is using its referenced image this, right? So you cannot delete. Remember this. This is very important. All the topics where I'm saying it's important, it's actually important because these are day in, day out tasks of a DevOps engineer. Every time you will do this. Every day you will do this. So this is very important for you to understand. And now you will not be able to delete this any of the container which is in use, right? Which is in use, image which is in use, which is in use by any container. So you have to ensure that you first delete the container, then you try to delete the images. Now let's try to stop the container. Let's try to stop the container. Docker stop. Docker stop. I stop the container, right? It takes some time because gracefully I'm taking it down. Okay, it's stopped now. So now what I'll do is I will let me just demonstrate in case if it stopped. It stopped. You can see exited 24 seconds ago, right? Now let me try to delete this Ubuntu. Can you see this? Still it says it won't be able to delete because it is referenced. So it doesn't matter if the container is in stop state, up state, you won't be able to delete any images which is created with, you won't be able to delete those images from which a container is already created. Now let me just delete this container. What is the command? Can anyone help me with the command?
Docker RMI and
Docker RMI is for images.
okay.
RMI stands for remove image. I stands for image, right? So
Sir,
Docker,
RM is for container and RMI is for image.
yes, because I
Okay.
comes, I comes at
Okay.
the end.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So now you see, Docker RM, it's gone. It's not there. Now I'll be able to easily delete. You see, deleted without any problem, without any error. It is deleted, right? So now you know how to delete a image, how to delete images also. I don't have that image. Now this time I'm going to pull the image which is with the name sudo docker sudo docker pull nginx nginx. Now you see I'm pulling another image, and this image is not a simple image. This image is the application type image. Which type of application? Web server application. Why web server application? Because I just want to demonstrate you what to do with a web server type this image, how to use that, right? Because the main purpose of web server application is what? Not just to not just to maybe run any commands there, or not just to maybe execute any kind of random installation of any random softwares, but its main purpose is to host something, to host some application, maybe to host some website, right? So in order to do that, what we are going to do is we need some web-based application, any container which is hosting a web-based application. So now what I'm going to do is, and this time you will see this is different. So sudo docker images, right? Sudo docker images. Now it shows clearly that I have one another image with me. And what is that image? Nginx image, other than hello world image. Hello world image is the first image which we created. Now this time, in order to run this image, what I'll do, I'll use some different command. And why I'll use different command, I'll tell you that also. See, understand it very clearly. Why I wanted to have interactive terminal for any Ubuntu based image or any CentOS based container. Why? Because that's a operating system. That's just a kind of simple blank machine. Nothing is there in that other than the machine itself. Wanted to do is, I wanted perhaps to save some file there. I wanted to install some software there. It's kind of blank machine. But like the example which I gave you yesterday, a blank laptop which you got, which doesn't have any software installed in it. Now, second kind of laptop which I talk about is which is highly customized, which is having so many softwares already pre-installed. Why do you want to connect to that now? Right? I mean, Perhaps saying is laptop will not be the right example in this, because laptops we normally use to connect to it, we normally use it for servers. So some of the servers which company purchases is having pre-installed softwares in it, so that companies should not take any pain in installing softwares on top of it. So everything is pre-installed, they just need to use it, right? They just need to use it. So in such case of situation, you don't need to have an interactive terminal for that, right? Even though if it's running at the back end, you are fine with that. Till the time your website is up, you are fine with that. You don't need to worry about whether you're whether you are connected to the container, whether you are not connected to the container. You do not bother about that. You just want your website to be up. That's it. Because the main purpose of Nginx is to host your website. Till the time it's hosting your website, you are completely fine with that. So what you will do in this case? In this case, you don't want to use -it flag. But a question again comes. I clearly said you even before that if we don't use IT, if we don't use IT and we run simply like this, then our container won't come up. You know that already. If we don't use IT, then our container won't up. Then what to do? So that we run this kind of containers from any application based image and not connect with interactive terminal, because that's what I want. I don't want to connect to its interactive terminal. In order to do that, I will Docker says fine, no problem. In such case, I'll give you another flag, and that flag is sudo docker run -d flag. What is D? D is like a demon, to which we say D is like a demon. Demon, which is, I mean, normally what we say, demon is not visible, right? I mean, English meaning, literal meaning of demon is something which is invisible, something which is always around us, something which we cannot see is a demon, right? So similar to that, D in this case stands for demon. In layman term, we can say it as a demon. In technical term, we say it as detached mode. So there are two mode, interactive mode and detached mode. D in this case stands for detached mode, wherein you are not attached to your container, but you have launched your container from the image, right? You have launched the image from launch the container from the image in detached mode, so that you are not connected to it, but your application is up, your container is up, and you are happy with that, your website is up, right? So in order to do that, I'm going to use a flag which is -d, and Ben, maybe you can give a name also, --name my web app my web app, and then give the name of the image. And as you hit enter, what happened? You see, it did something. It just gave you this. But is it connected to container? Is it container to container? No. If it's connected to container, then EC2 user should have been changed to what? Should have been changed to what? Anyone?
Root. I mean,
Abs- Yes, root. It should have been changed to root. And this IP address should have been changed to what? Container ID.
container ID. Yeah.
Yeah, should have been changed to container ID. But this is not. This is not. This did not change. That basically means I'm not connected to container, right? I ran, but I am not connected to container. Is the container up? Second question. Is the container up? Docker ps-a. Yes, container is up. So you connected to a container, but the container is not up. And one thing, did you notice? It gave you port also. It gave you, let me just show you. See, this was one Ubuntu. This was one Ubuntu container. And let me show you the state where Ubuntu container is up. Yeah, see here, see here. Can you see this? Here
Mm.
you're not getting any port. Under port, it's blank, right? Why it's blank? Because you don't need it to connect to, you don't need it to host your website. And until unless you don't want anyone to host your website, you don't need TC, any of the OSI, any of the 7 layers of OSI model which you learned in your networking thing, in your security thing. You don't need that, right? No TCP layer you need, no HTTP layer, no HTTPS layer, no load balancing. You don't need that. Hence, ports are blank. But in this case, you see ports are there. Why? Because this is not a normal container. This is a container which has capacity to host your website. So you need some TCP protocol, some IDP protocol, some UDP protocol, some HTTP protocol, some HTTPS protocol based on what kind of servers you want. And that is the reason I'm saying you all the web application which you are using in today's date, in current world, 100%, I won't even say 99% or 90% to it. Normally when I say this usage of this tool is 90%, I just ensure that I am not missing those 10% who are not using those tools, those companies. But I guarantee nowadays 100% of the organizations are hosting their website on container only. And that is where these kind of applications comes in, and that is where you see these ports where applications are hosted, right? You're following me, right? What I'm trying to say here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So now you see ports are up there, ports are up, right? So basically this container is up, ports up. So ideally, if container is up, port is up, and this is very tricky thing which I'm going to talk about now. This is super tricky thing. So now in case, now what I'm saying is, so ideally my website should be up, right? Ideally my website should be ideally my website should be up. So now what I'll do, I will try to see if my website is actually up or not. So basically Nginx I've created a web application Nginx, and how Nginx default website looks like, let me just show you. I think it's very simple. Nginx default website, Nginx homepage image. How it looks like, let me just show you. This is how it looks like. We'll see that. We'll see that in our IP also. So Nginx homepage looks something like this. Something like this, right? Something like this. So ideally, I should also see, because like the way I'm saying you that, hey, I have done this and it's running now. Even container is up and running, like the way you can see. Container is also up and running. Let's run the command again. Container is also up and running for last 4 minutes. Even ports also it's showing. So ideally, it should be up. Let's see. Let's see if it's up. So where I'll see? Where is this? Where is this? So let me just create a diagram again for you. Please try to understand this nicely, because this is conceptual thing. What I have done earlier, this is my EC2 instance. This is my EC2 instance. This is my EC2 instance. In this EC2 instance, what I've done here is, in this EC2 instance, what I've done, I have launched certain things, right? In this EC2 instance, what I've done, I have launched certain thing. This is for memory. Here I have installed some virtualization software. Now I have created different types of containers, right? So here it's my EC2 instance configuration. Its OS will be there. EC2 instance, its OS is there. OS is there, memory is there, CPU is there, whatever it's there. right? Whatever it's there. On top of that, this what I've done, I've installed Docker. I've installed Docker, which is a virtualization, which is a containerization software. Okay, containerization software I have installed, right? Containerization software I have installed, and here I have Nginx container running. Consider this is my Nginx container which is running, right? So where is my Nginx container? Over within EC2 instance. Now a user, consider I am a user, consider I am a user. And this user, what this user is trying to do, this user is trying to access, this user is trying to access this container. Consider I am a user and I'm sitting in front of my computer, right? I am sitting in front of my computer, and in this computer, what I'm trying to do is, I am in my browser, in my computer browser, I am trying to access this container. This is what I'm trying to do. In this browser, I do have a browser. In this browser, I'm trying to, in this browser, I am trying to access, in this browser, I am trying to access this Nginx container. Here, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to access this Nginx container. So what I'm trying to, I'm connected to internet, right? Trying to connect to internet and I'm trying to access it. Don't think that everything is on my laptop, so everything is there. I want you also to do it where I'll share the IP address. Okay, so now what is happening here? Traffic is coming. So traffic basically starting from my laptop, right? Traffic basically is starting from my laptop and it is going to you, it is coming to you. Traffic is starting from my laptop and this traffic from my laptop is going to Nginx here, to this web server. It is coming here. So traffic is coming from here to here. This is how it works. Traffic, that is how you access any of the website. It's not only Nginx. That is how you access any of the website which you are able to access. Google, Facebook, whatever the website you try to access in your browser. What you do, you just type facebook.com, google.com, it opens something for you. How it happens? The traffic starts from the query starts from your browser and it reaches to the container, and it reaches to the container, and the container has anyways access to internet and you are able to access it. There is no problem in that, right? There's no problem in that. So same thing I'm also going to do. Same thing I'm also going to do. Here what I'll do, I'll take the IP address of my instance and you also try to access it with me. Not only me, you also try to access it. See, I just ping the IP address. Okay, try to access this. I am also trying to access this. It says it's not accessible, right? Why it says it's not accessible now? Now, why it says it's not everything is fine. Everything is fine. I'm still connected to internet. Even the EC2 instance is connected to internet, and that is where you saw I'm able to download any of the software which I wish to from EC2 instance. Let me try to ping Google from EC2 instance. Let me try to ping Google. Ping google.com. Now you see, I'm getting some response. So that basically means I'm connected to internet, right? I'm connected to internet. But
So
what is
what IP address you use to connect?
my EC2 instance IP address?
Okay.
Yeah, because that is where I created the container, right? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll use that only. So now you see, I've used that, but what I'm saying, it's not connecting. Everything is fine. My instance is connected to internet. My machine is connected to internet, but when I'm trying to access the container which is present in the EC2 instance, I am unable to access. Why? What is
We
happening?
have to define the Nginx server
You're very
container,
close.
the container.
Yeah, you're very. This is something which you do in your networking or I mean, just
Yeah,
curiosity.
I mean, sir, I
Yeah,
think
like
we already
maybe
allowed that
maybe
port.
API or something.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, yeah. API is there, but there is something else, which you have to do here, right?
Yeah,
But
or maybe define the location, the destination or something.
Mhm.
this port is already allowed, right, sir, in our, I
Yeah, yeah.
mean,
All the
initially. So then it should accessible
Yeah,
actually, I mean,
the container ID or something.
in
yeah,
the,
see,
yeah, security group.
yeah, security group. If I'll go and if I'll check for the security group, you see, all inbound rules, all traffic, all port is allowed,
Yeah,
and outbound all port is allowed, but still it's not accessible, right?
Yeah,
This,
yeah.
we need to attach container ID.
yeah, something we have to do, something we have to do, right? And that is what I'm going to show you what we have to do. So see here, you guys are very close, very, very close. So now what is happening is, see, container is within the instance. You try to understand this. Container is within the instance, right? I mean, let me just create a kind of consider again. This is my virtual EC2 instance, and container is somewhere here. You don't know where. Container is somewhere within the container. Now, when this traffic is coming, the traffic is falling on the machine, right? Traffic is falling on the machine, but the traffic is not reaching to this container. It is falling on the machine. Machine has all the ports open, 80, 443, whatever port you can think about. All the ports are open in my machine. But it's falling here and it's stopping here only. Nginx is not installed in my machine. Understand this. Nginx is not installed in my machine. Where is Nginx installed? It's installed within the container, right? It is
Yes,
installed within the container. So this traffic should move. There should be a channel, right? You create some kind of tunneling, right? In your security, no?
yes,
Yeah, you do that, right? I mean, in case of you Palo Alto thing, and in case of Zscaler, Zscaler, you create those tunneling, right? No?
yes.
Yeah. So those tunneling, what you have to do is you have to create some sort of, what is that tunneling? Tunneling is like channeling, so that the traffic could flow through that, right? So similar to that, what we have to do is we have to see. I'm sorry in case if I use some wrong definition for networking thing. I'm not a networking pro, but just from my perspective, what I think, that's what I say. Right? You guys are networking expert. You know better than me. So now, so now what happens through that channel? The tunnelnet, the tunneling which you create in which the traffic flows, what happens in this case also is the traffic has to flow from my machine as the traffic hits. As the traffic hits my machine, there should be one agent. There should be someone standing on the door, which should route the traffic to the right place, like gatekeeper receiving
Yes,
the traffic, and it should route the traffic to the right place. That's what gatekeeper also does in the networking thing, right? it
yes.
it it receives all the traffic and it routes the traffic to the right channel, to the right place. So that thing we have to configure, that connection we have to define, so that it's falling here and it should be routed to the container. This
Do
is
we do
what,
remote proxy, sir, or
what
NAT?
a sort of natting, yes, sort
Yeah,
of natting will do. Yes, sort
static
of.
NAT.
Yes, that is what we are going to do. We'll create a kind of, in very simple terms, we'll do a port mapping. Very simple terms. We'll do a port mapping. We'll create some sort of connection. A kind of port mapping will do, so that
Okay.
so that any traffic which falls here can be routed to this place. Okay. So now that is what I'm going to do. So now, what is the default port of Nginx? Let's try to understand that also. default port of Nginx. Nginx default port is 80, not 443. Nginx default port is 80. HTTP connections on 443. Nginx default port is 80, not 443.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was also visible in the image status, port 80.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay, it was visible now. Yeah, you're right. Yes.
uh,
So Nginx default port is 80. Like the way you can see, it's not 443. It's 80 only. So now what happens is now, um, now, okay, fine. Now Nginx default port is, see, I'm just trying to elaborate it in a kind of much easier way so that you can understand. In a house, there could be two-person, and these two-person can have same requirement, right? Can have same requirement. Perhaps there are two kids at the home. Each of the kid needs same rasgulla, same white sweet. Each of the kid needs, right? What you will tell to first kid? Okay, fine. You just and they both want to exit together. They both want to exit house together, but your gate is so small that they both can't fit in together exactly at same time, exactly in the same second. What they want to do is they want to exit from the house exactly at the same time, exactly in the same second, so that they can get that sweet, the white sweet from outside, from market, right? So what you will do in that case, if you do have a second door in your house, fair enough, then you will ask your first kid to exit from first door, second kid to exit from second door. That's what you will do, right? But it doesn't mean that the requirement of your kids are changing. It's still same. They both want to go out. They both want to go out. What you have done is, at your house you have created second door. Second door for first kid, one door for your first kid and second door for your second kid. What you have done, in your house you created two doors, and you wanted your each of the kid to exit your house from each of the door. So now quite the same thing can be applied in this case also. Now here, this EC2 instance is like a house. EC2 instance is like a house, and in this house I have kids like containers, right? I have kids like containers. Now I can have two container with the same default port 80, right or wrong? I can have Nginx here, Nginx here, Nginx here. Second application, which is having the default port, is HTTPD. HTTPD default port is HTTPD default port is also, HTTPD is another web server. So I'll show you default port of HTTPD, HTTPD, HTTPD. You see, HTTPD's default port is also 80, right? So now I want another web server within the same machine, within the same EC2 instance. I wanted another web server also, like second kid. HTTPD's port is also 80. Nginx port is also 80, and they have the same demand. They both want to go out. The traffic, they both want to go out because you hosted one page in Nginx web server, another page or another website in HTTPD web server. They both want to go out. The traffic the traffic want to go out, or say both want to access applications. Which port? Say in case if I want to access now, what I'll do, perhaps I'll try to just put a kind of generic port number which is 80. But where the traffic will go now? The traffic will fall on Nginx, or the traffic will fall on HTTPD. You're understanding the problem here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So where the traffic will fall? HTTPD or Nginx? So in this case, what I have to do? I have to create perhaps two doors for my two kids. First door will route traffic to Nginx, and second door will route traffic to HTTPD. So two different doors I'll open in this web server in this EC2 instance, I'll say to my first door that, hey, route traffic to Nginx only, and to my second door I'll say route traffic to HTTPD only. So what I'll say, the first door which I'm opening in my EC2 instance is consider 8888 port. This is and how will we open any door in any of the server? By using port only, right? There is no other way, right? You guys deal with that, right? Opening of the port,
Yeah.
applying firewall on the port. That is your day-to-day job. So now consider that I opened a port 8888, opened a gate 8888 for Nginx, and I opened another gate which is 7777. I opened another gate which is 7777, which is say 7777, 7777. Uh, any port I can choose. I'm not able to type.
So instead of using well-known port, we're using our own defined.
Any port which your organization allows you to use, you can do that. I don't know why I'm not able to type. Okay. Okay. Now 7777. Now I cannot use port 80 here. Why I cannot use port 80? Because if I'm using port 80, then again same confusion will remain, right? Port 80 will route traffic to Nginx or to HTTPD. So I'm using some different ports. Or maybe if I'm using port 80, then I still have to open two different gates for two different containers. So the traffic will reach out to first container with some different gate and to some other container to some different gate. So that's the reason I chose some port. I took permission from networking team, you guys, and we do that. We take permissions from networking team, security team, and we ask them to allow these ports, whitelist these ports, so that the traffic could be routed properly to the containers, so that all the application which is present in these containers will be accessible. We take approvals.
So
So
we
now,
we assign this port manually.
yes, you
Okay.
open this port manually, you whitelist these ports manually for us. Yes. Okay. Now, so now, so now, what we do is So now what we do is 8888 and 7777 are two ports which we have opened. Is it clear till here why we need two different gates? Why do we need two different ports? Why we want to have a port in the first place to my EC2 instance when already a port is associated to the container, the application for the container? Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
For me, yeah, clear.
Yeah, cool. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do that only. Right? And now I'm going to show you how to do that port mapping. How to do the port mapping. Now there are two ways to do port mapping. One way to do port mapping is you define a port of your own choice. You say that, hey, this is the port which I want to open in the EC2 instance and map with the container. You decide on your own. Right? You decide on your own. You take that control and say that this is the port which I have to use. And second way is you let Docker decide which port to expose, which port to open. You let Docker decide it. You don't decide, you let Docker decide it. So now let's see both the situations. Now let's see both the situations, how you will decide and how you will let Docker decide this. Now, in order for you to decide, you will execute a command docker sudo docker run. Again, you will use -d detached mode, right? --, name, give a name to it. And I want to give a name as Nginx _1, some name I gave. And I will use -p for port mapping. Another flag I'm introducing with you, which is small p. This is used for port mapping. I want to use the port 8888 with what I'm mapping, port number 80, and I will use the image nginx. So Docker run -d -name, you learned this. I am just introducing one more flag -p, and with the use of this -p flag, I am mapping 8888 port to port number 80, and I'm giving the name to the container. This is going to create another container. Remember, this is not that this container name is web app. This is one container whose name is web app. I'm creating another container whose name is nginx now. Right? Hit enter. Now, as I hit enter, what it is going to do, it has created another,
Sir,
right?
can you explain this --name nginx _1?
This is the thing which is used to name the container, which we did even earlier. I don't know if we did yesterday, but we did earlier also today while I was naming
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So
Uh,
this is
oh,
just to
okay,
assign name to the container,
okay,
right?
okay.
Okay, so now can you see what happened after I executed this -p port mapping? Can you see? Can you see this? So this is what things changed a bit, right? So previously I did not use -p. I used the same image. The output was something like this. But now things changed. Now its ports is so lengthy. Now it says that 8888, can you see this? Is forwarding the traffic to port number 80. 8888 in your machine is forwarding traffic to port number 80, which is in the container. Understand this ports configuration. This is talking about that, right? This is talking about that. Now you try to access this. Put the IP address and then :8888. And see, in my machine, for sure it will work. Check it in your machine also if it's working. Put the same IP address which I gave you earlier and use :8888 after that. Same IP address and :88.
Yeah, it's working now.
It's working now, right? It's working now. Why see, for me, if I'm using in my machine, you will think that okay, fine, instance is also in my machine and I'm trying to access here, so perhaps that is the reason. But you're not at all connected to my machine. You're sitting somewhere, different country, people are sitting, but still you are able to access. All right? How you are able to access? Because because now I gave you a kind of gateway. I gave you a kind of pathway to access the application. Where this application is hosted, this application is not hosted on my machine. It's hosted on my container. Remember this small container whose size is as small, very small size will be. This is hosting this website now for me. Now what I'll do, I'll just stop this container. You see, just to demonstrate if it's actually there in my container or not, I'll just stop this. Can you try to access again? Just try to access again. Just try
Yeah,
to
not
access.
working now.
Not working, right? This is how the website works. In real time, this is how website works. All the websites which you are accessing at this point working in this way only. Okay, working in this way only. Right? So this is how it works. So now this is one of the way to assign the port. This is one of the way to assign a port where you choose a port of your own, where you decide which port you have to use. Now there is second way to do that where I said that you let Docker decide which port to choose. In that case, what you do, you don't give anything, you just mention capital P. See, previously I mentioned small p. When I mentioned small p, you gave the port number 8888 and you just decided you have just mentioned port number 80, which is for the container port. And then you ran it, right? And then you ran it. And as you ran it, you are able to see now, you are able to see now that the application is coming up, right? The application is coming up. So now what I'll do is I will give it some other name, which is nginx 2. which is nginx 2. And now you see what happens. This time I did not give any port. Did Docker allocate any port to it? Yes. Docker itself has allocated port to it, which is 32,768. Docker has allocated a port to it automatically. So you don't need to worry about the port allocation. Docker allocates the port on its own, which is 32,768. Docker has allocated the port, right? Docker has allocated the port, and now you see what happens. Now you see what happens. Try to access the same application with, but this time with port number 32,768. You try to do that. 32,768, because you will think again in my system, it's already there. That's the reason I'm able to access it. But now it's even accessible on port number 32,768. I did not choose the port. I did not assign this port. This port even is chosen by Docker. And for the next time when I'll run the same command, perhaps Docker will assign some other port. So many times we do this also. We don't take the pain of choosing the port of our own choice. Docker does that for us many a times, right? Docker does that many times for us. So these are the two methods of port mapping, port allocation. One is you assign a port of your choice, and second thing is Docker assigns a port for you. Is this clear? Is this clear till here?
Yeah, for me it's clear.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Cool, cool, cool. And and it's so interesting. Trust me, it's so interesting that you can do anything. You can think about any application which you want to host. You will be able to access it. You can even host Jenkins. Rather than you installing Jenkins on any EC2 instance, you can install, you can configure Jenkins with your this with the container itself. Now let me just show you that also. This will be This container world is so interesting. It has actually solved lots of problems for for the world. Now I see I'm just going to, so for Jenkins installation, we had to take so much of pain, right? You saw that, right? We had to install this, that, so much things to for Jenkins to access. So now simple thing what I'll do, I will just run it. Sudo docker run -d hyphen name, say Jenkins 1, and hyphen capital P I'm giving, so that I don't want to choose a port of my own choice. I gave the name of the image. Hit enter. What happened? Okay, let me just pull the image first. I think I did not pull the image. Sudo docker pull Jenkins. What happened? Okay, there is no latest version for Jenkins. There is no latest version. I have to use the tag 2.60.3. I'll have to use this. Sudo okay, it's working now. I'll just show you once how fantastic it is. How fantastic it is. I'll show you. I'll show you how fantastic it is. Okay, how fantastic it is. I'll show you. So now what I'm going to do is, uh, same thing, but this time I'll use this tag also. Okay, now you see what happened. Sudo docker ps-a. Now it has assigned a port 32,770, I think. Yeah, 32,770. Now you try to access this. you try to access the same thing with 32,770. Can you see this? You no need to take any pain of Jenkins installation now. Your Jenkins is up on container, right? It's
Yeah.
hosted on the container now. No
So just to
installation.
summarize, sir, we installed Jenkins in the container using the app-based image.
App-based image, yes.
Okay.
See how easy it is, right? How easy it made for the world now to install any application. You don't take any pain, images are there, you just run it and everything is there on the fly within a second for you. Everything is everything is pre-installed, everything is pre-configured. You just have to use it. You're getting it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Then we'll stop today here only. Let's connect again tomorrow and then we will see more on it. Okay, fine. Then thanks. Let's connect again tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
You
sir.
guys are available tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir, I am. 𝗲𝗏𝗿.
Yeah, for me, I'm also.
No issues, right? Fine. Yeah, let's connect then tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
sir.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.